So I'll start. My name is Zachary Fischer. I'm one of the founders and president of AFC Columbia. We're a semi-professional, elite amateur. I'll get into that on the next slide. Soccer club in Columbia, Missouri. We play right down the road at Columbia College. We're the only one of our kind in all of mid-Missouri, actually outside of the major cities of St. Louis and Kansas City. We are the only one of our type. We are not a youth club. We have no youth components. We actively try to promote our other youth clubs in our city. But this is our team from 2 years ago with our wonderful business partner, Equipment Share, who was one of our founding partners who helped establish the club with some of our youth from Sporting Columbia that had attended the game. So this is us is our first. So what are we? We are community founded. So we have a board of about anywhere from 5 to 6, depending on how you view our 6th one. He's moving to California, unfortunately. Oh, sorry. We are all, it's all locals, so there's no outside investors, there's no $1 million backers. This is all Joe Schmoes from down the road trying to give back to something to Columbia. We are volunteer operated. None of our staff are paid, including the coaching staffs, except for some minor stipends here and there for specific things. And we are a Missouri nonprofit. We've applied to be a 501c3. We were a few years ago, and we had some admin issues, and we'll be reapplying for that. And then I say we're elite amateur or semi-professional or developmental. We don't pay our players, so using the word professional in any capacity is a little bit odd. We were made up of anywhere between 30 to 35 of the best college players and locals in the area. And when I put the asterisk of local players, so you either have to be from Columbia, played at a local Columbia college, or you have to live here locally. And now it's with rare exception that we take outside the rules. So we do not recruit from outside the area, which is what a lot of our clubs at our level do. It puts us at technically a disadvantage because our pool is much smaller, but we want people from Columbia to support players from Columbia. So that was one of our big things. And we are regional competition, so we play teams from Iowa, Illinois, Missouri, and Kansas. And we are Open Cup eligible. For those that don't know what the Open Cup is, essentially every major MLS team in the country, all the way down to our level, all play in one big, essentially NCAA March Madness knockout tournament every year. We are eligible for that, so in theory, we could play St. Louis City in a game competitively. Probably will never happen, but you could hope, right?
Don't say never.
It's possible. It's possible. So why do we exist? So when we first moved here, my goal was really just to support whatever local club was here. There was never a goal of actually starting a club. And essentially what happened was we would talk to local coaches and we were like, oh, yeah, all our players go to St. Louis, all our players go to Kansas City. It's like, well, why don't we have our own thing and go, no one's ever brought one here. We would support it if we had something here. So that was one of our big things to go in. We also have, it costs money to drive to St. Louis. It costs money to drive to Kansas City and play in these bigger clubs. So one of the things we found was there was a lot of great talent here. We've actually had, I want to say 15 players that had either started through the City of Refuge or came to Columbia or come from a lower economic background. They can't afford that, so there was not an opportunity for them to play. And a lot of them have been some of our best players. So we're very fortunate to be able to give back to them and be able to work with them and make sure that they have a place to play. And like I said, they've been some of our best players as we go through the club. Something for Columbia to call its own. There is no sports entity outside of the rugby club that we're good friends with in Columbia that is not attached to a school of some sort. So outside the rugby club and ours that we know of, there's no minor league baseball or anything like that. We wanted something that Columbia could call its own in the summer that's outside Mizzou. So I'm a Tennessee alum, in all fairness. I don't have a lot of love for the Tigers. I jokingly say that as a former employee, but we wanted something that you could, hey, if you're a transplant, that you could call your own that's not affiliated with a local school. And then, of course, when we started it in 2020, which was a terrible time to start a soccer club, we knew that the World Cup is coming next year. The Club World Cup was this year. The women's team at that time was winning World Cups. That there was a lot of interest. Soccer, there's actually been about 200 soccer clubs started at this level or professional in the U.S. in the last 5 years. We were a little ahead of the curve there, but we're pretty much right on the curve there. Sorry if I talk fast. Like I said, I was a Marine. I tend to talk fast. My wife tells me to slow down all the time. So if I need to repeat something, let me know. So our timeline, we were technically founded in 2020. As everyone knows, that was a terrible time. We didn't actually really get going until 2022. We joined the league. We're actually the founding member of the league. It was a conference of the league. We're actually the founding member of the State Cup. we tend to be the first in a lot of areas, and that comes with pain points, is what I will get to in a minute. And then we had our first official match at Battle High School. If anyone was there that day, good on you, because it was hot. It was like 90 degrees out at Battle High School. We appreciate the 75 or so people that came there. And on that note, we average about 300 people a game. We've had terrible weather this year. It was scorching hot one, and then our biggest game of the year was a rain game, which can't blame you for not showing up to a rain game. But we were actually the highest attended team at this level in the state of Missouri. So we're very appreciative of our local fans coming out. We moved to Columbia College in 2023. That same year, we started the first ever women's semi-professional team in the state. Well, actually in Missouri, the second one in the state, who is now operated by a partner organization called Missouri Reign. They still operate separately. And then we typically, so when we play, typically start in May and go through July. Like I said, we have mostly college players. We have a bunch from Columbia College, Westminster, William Woods. We have Division I players from Eastern Illinois. We have college players from scattered across the Midwest, but they all more or less originated here in Columbia. So that's more or less our time frame. And then what is next? So what we're really looking to doing for expanding is looking at different membership models. That there's a lot of people that move in here that want to play soccer that aren't from here or don't have local connections, and we're trying to connect them with pickup games or tournaments or things like that. We're trying to grow and connect the Columbia community. That is one of our biggest goals from a soccer standpoint, is to try to, how can we connect them all? Like, it's a very difficult thing because they're all scattered and you're trying to get them all in one place. Competition structure, we are trying to look into playing longer season. Obviously, it's really hot in the summer and people do travel. We want to be more accessible to people outside that. And there's also a lot of people that attend Mizzou that say, hey, we want to come to your games, but we go home in the summer. So we're trying to figure out that area. Community involvement, one of the pictures here, that's actually my 5-year-old who has his birthday today, so happy birthday, Luca. He comes out to be one of the ball kids.
Bring him to the popcorn stop, we got something for him.
He's actually a big fan of popcorn. I might take you up on that, but there you go. So one of the things that happened at the event right after this was we had 150 Special Olympics players that are going to compete at the National Olympics. We had a big event out. And had they were at a game. They got to participate in a game. It was really cool to see. I found out later that most of them weren't actually soccer players. They were something like flag football or anything, but they're actually really good at soccer, which was really cool to see. Increased community involvement. We're trying to get more involved with like Habitat for Humanity and things like that. Those are things that are really important to us. With such a small staff and most of our college players going out, going back to their colleges, it's really hard to get a large group of people. So we're always looking for other entities to partner with so we can help promote in the off season. Team expansion, we are potentially going to a second team, a developmental team. There's a gap between the really competitive college players and the high schoolers. There's an area of need here locally that we're looking to potentially fill. And then we get approached by 3 or 4 entities a year. I don't know why necessarily us, but we tend to get that approached by clubs that are independents that are in the area. Get water coming down. Okay, just make sure that's normal. That approached us and said, hey, can we affiliate with you? We in the past have not been a youth organization. We tend to promote our local youth organizations. Soccer is, like a lot of things, it's highly political, and we just try not to be political, is the best way of saying that. But some of these are from far-reaching areas like Macon and Moberly, who are kind of out in the middle of nowhere, who have no one to kind of help with. And then game and atmosphere enhancements, popcorn. We'd love to have popcorn at games. We'd love to be able to have bounce houses, those kind of things. Those are the things we're trying to make sure that when you come to a game, it's more of an event. And I'll keep going here. And then really, one of our biggest challenges is kind of this, is explaining what we do and how we are. A lot of people think, hey, you're a youth club, or you are a bunch of old guys that like to just kick the ball around. Like, no, we just actually had 4 players drafted in the MLS draft from our league last year. We just had one get picked up by St. Louis City, a team that we played this year. These are really, really good players that just haven't had a chance to kind of show what they can do. And unless you're a Columbia College grad, you're probably not going to a Columbia College game or a William Woods game. You're probably not going to do that. So one of our biggest things is that, and maybe a challenge for this is, how do you explain it? We've tried, but we're always looking for different ideas of how to explain that to the local community. I even thought about those who are Major League Baseball fans, the Major League movie, where they say, hey, we're your local Major League Baseball team. We thought about doing that as a spin-off, as a spoof. And then second, we are all volunteer staff, so I have a day job, pretty much our head coach has a day job, everyone has a different day job. This is a passion project for the community. How do you do that without burning out our staff, especially a small staff of 5 or 6? We do on game days have about 15 people that help out with the club in some capacity, but they're not really involved day to day to help plan that. And the last one was, we don't own a facility, and facilities are at a premium around here. Outside of Cosmo, which the grass is okay, it's not great, and a lot of players won't play out there because of the holes and stuff, but there's not that many turf fields in the area. It's really hard to expand and say, hey, do a lot more volunteer clinics and do a lot more things in the fall, especially when all the fields are pretty much taken. So that's one of our growth areas, is how do we do that? Because we want to give back to more local entities, a lot more YMCAs, youth groups, those kind of things, to get them involved in soccer, because there's a lot of people that just don't get a chance to. We're trying to figure out a way to, how do we give back more in that capacity? And then if you really want to reach out, I have my contact information there, and could do there. I don't know how Q&A typically works, so
Yeah,
pass it
I got
back.
you. I'll come up and help. All right. Questions, comments, thoughts? Trish.
I am Joey Ketting's mom,
Oh yeah,
and so Joey played on AFC the first 2 years of its existence, and he played at Columbia College.
one of the originals.
He was an original. He still is an original. I have several thoughts on this because I've attended a lot of games. The big thing right now is the Savannah Bananas, and people in Columbia, a lot of people, if you're not in the soccer world, don't understand the beautiful game of soccer. And you have all those kids who are playing rec at Cosmo Park, which I'm sure you tap into that, as well as Sporting Columbia and all the things. But if you had an event, and obviously at Mizzou Athletics, like baseball does, whether it's bobblehead day, whatever, popcorn night, the nice thing about AFC is, it's an outside thing, it's family oriented, and it's really a great atmosphere. And so just teaching people in the community what you're all about and having some of those fun incentives, like minor league baseball does, might bring more people in.
Yeah, one of our last things was game day enhancements. That's one of the things we think about. We actually gave out vuvuzelas last year.
Yeah, well, I hate those things, but anyway.
Well, that was the one thing we did, and then we found out that the parents didn't love them, but the kids loved them. They
Yes,
were loud and obnoxious, and it was great.
And then just getting into the connection exchange. I think a lot of people don't even know you exist.
Yep.
So if you're not in the soccer ecosystem, you don't know that AFC exists or what AFC is. And so the connections exchange, door mail, who goes to 22,000 residents.
That's good,
There's different options, but I'm happy to meet with you later. Or
yeah, I'm happy to learn
the
about
other
it.
thing too is you could tap into, there's probably, just that I know of, 15 or 20 guys who played for AFC in the early years. You should tap into them. I'm not volunteering my son without you talking to him directly. Tap into them for board members, for volunteer opportunities. I mean, they may not be able to commit every game, but you could do a rotation. Hey, can you guys do 3 home games
That's good. We haven't talked about that. That's a great idea.
a season? Because
That's
they're
great.
already connected.
Hopefully Joe will come back. Hopefully he didn't run him off.
Yeah.
No, he's doing good.
DW, and then Kylie, and then Christina. We'll do this side of the room.
Question, where do you guys play your games?
Columbia College, right down the road.
Okay.
Yep.
So my youngest son coaches rec soccer. His grandson is like 4th grade, okay?
Yep.
I mean, that would be perfect. I mean, those kids love soccer, okay? And so I don't know what your outreach is to.
Yeah, we try to go directly through Sporting Columbia because we try not to reach out to. It's been a struggle because they're just like us. They don't have a huge staff, and it's been really hard to get past those people to get to the coaches to say, hey, can you share our information?
This is what I would do. I would ask him if you could maybe next spring, and just have the ability to go out and walk around the fields when people are playing on Saturday and hand out flyers.
Players maybe?
Or
Yep.
something, because you're gonna get kids that will, you'll have the best attendance you've ever had if you can get that pipeline with those rec kids, and And some of those kids are gonna go on to Sporting Columbia too, you know.
Yeah, we actually had Columbia Rush out last year, and they brought 300 people or 200 people.
Yeah.
So it's just been a struggle because what happens a lot of times in competitive soccer is, which is where most of the full timers work, is they end in May, but we start in May. And it's been really hard to get. They go take vacations. They're done with their stuff. It's been really hard to really get that connected. And the rec stuff doesn't start till the fall, so it's been really. As I coach my kids, that's a really good idea. I like the idea of maybe in the fall just putting a tent right out there,
Yeah.
especially with the little kids, which the parents are watching.
Yeah.
You know.
Get a tent up, you
Yep.
know.
Yep. I like that idea. We haven't thought about that. It's a good idea.
And just, now I lost my comment. I'll think about it, it'll come back around.
That's okay. Yeah, so-
Kylie.
I was gonna mention rotational volunteering, and then Trish stole it from me, but I think that's a great idea if you wanna decrease burnout, having
Yep.
people that, like, having more people on your team, but fewer, fewer assignments per person.
Yeah, it's good. We haven't thought about reaching out to former players. It's one area that maybe we probably should have. That now being 4 years in, we have a decent sized pool. It's a good idea. I haven't thought about that.
Especially if everyone has a day job. And you said you worked at Mizzou.
Yep, I was working athletics at Mizzou.
Would they let you use their soccer field?
No.
Sometimes?
There is no let.
Mizzou is very protective of their stuff. That's the nice way of.
Does Columbia College charge you for the venue?
Yes. It's.
Do you make up for that ticket sales?
We typically, the goal for the home games is to break even. The facility costs in Columbia are really high comparatively, but it is the nicest soccer specific facility probably in mid-Missouri. So we're very fortunate to have a really good venue, which you go play some places in St. Louis that you think they'd have better facilities, but they don't. It fills in everything we're doing, and one of the things that we're trying to do is, we have a sports section guys over there, trying to get some atmosphere in there to really make it a really fun atmosphere.
We get the city involved because, soccer has grown tremendously here, and I've been talking about this for years. Is that why didn't we build? We're spending a lot of money on trails around here, right? Some of that Parks and Rec money can be building like what Boonville did over there. You could attract a lot of economic incentive here. My son's a competitive soccer player, and we're traveling to St. Louis and Kansas City every weekend in the spring. So.
We made the argument that Boonville hosts several thousand a weekend once a year. Stevens College actually doesn't have a facility. We've actually been talking to them about collaborating on potentially trying to build something here if we could get some government involvement.
Okay, we'll go Christina, and then we'll work on this side of the room.
Have you considered reaching out to some of the bigger companies here? So I know some of the companies in town, like one built an amphitheater in Tennessee with their name on it. So being able to have that kind of marketing, bringing in some tourism and stuff, like collaborating with some of those bigger key companies to market you, but also the city and that company.
Yes.
Might be something to think
Yeah,
about.
so Veterans United doesn't officially partner, but they do help assist things. And then Equipment Share was our founding partner. And then
I mean, for like the field, I guess.
for
is
field,
what I was
yeah, that's
thinking.
something. The thing about that is it's probably going to be on government-owned development.
Yeah,
It's
finding the ground is the problem.
The fairgrounds.
The price of the ground.
The fairgrounds is typically the one that gets brought up the most.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
All right, we'll come over here, we'll start here, and we'll work our way around.
I just had a quick thought. I look at all kinds of different events on Facebook. If you haven't already, make each game its own event, because then it starts farming them to people, and it's like, hey, here's an event you might like, or somebody else is going to this, you might like it, and once you like one, you can just start adding all of them, and they'll just add them straight to your calendar, and then once you're in that ecosystem, any event that you post will get shared to them or to their friends and things like that. So
We actually started doing that this year. That was one of the things that we got recommended in the off season was doing that. Yeah, so we are on that, and then we actually have there's on our website there was an ability to like go in and like save it to your Google Calendar and things like that. So those were actually really helpful. I know they worked because I would get my pinged. I'm like, hey, the game starts in 3 hours. I'm like, I'm already here setting you up. And yes,
DC?
Couple things. Maybe you have. Have you guys gotten any connections with the TV and radio stations that have them come actually film or do live broadcasts at your events?
So not the live broadcast, but pretty much all the major TV stations in town, or they're at the games doing highlights and things like that. We have been on some news segments like ABC 17, both the women's and men's coaches were on this year. They've been actually very supportive. We typically will get the summer interns out there doing it when they use them as their projects as they're growing. So we've actually had a really good success with that. We have not, from the newspaper standpoint, not had really good success. But we've been on pretty much, I would say like 5 or 6 local radio broadcasts. And then Darren, who's our PA announcer, works for a radio station. So we've had success in there, but it hasn't necessarily brought the interest that we kind of thought some of that
Do you
would.
live stream the games on socials? Or?
Yeah, so we live stream all our games on YouTube. We actually partner with some of the students at the Missouri J School. We actually probably have one of the better streams at our level in the country at this point.
It's very good.
We've invested, I think $2,000 in equipment just in the last year of making sure that if you want to go see one of our games and you can't, you see them live. And the stream numbers have been better than expected, but still not, it hasn't really shot off yet. But we did have a viral moment this year. We had a guy just outside the 18-yard box, which is the big square outside. Goalkeeper kicked it off the kid's leg. It ricocheted all the way back up into the back corner, and it had like 40,000 views on social media. It was actually shared within some MLS circles of like, was that a goal or not a goal? Big debate. We were starting to pop up on random soccer shows this year. So, and I will note that is we have sold jerseys in the past. We've sold jerseys to 13 different countries and across the country. So jersey sales have been an odd way of revenue, but it's a big growing sport, and people want things that they can't get from somewhere else. So they always, if they can find our jerseys, we found them in Ukraine randomly. That was the most random one.
Using that Columbia College reference, Cosmo from Y07 used to dress up as the Cougar, so you might be able to get him maybe to challenge one of the other stations or something like that.
That's good. Yeah, I haven't thought about challenge. That's good.
But do you have companies that say it's logboat night at your game, and then logboat can promote it on their socials? And
We've tried. Not been successful yet, but that's something that we anytime we approach sponsors, hey, this is something we want to do. We've even tried. Hey, if you want to sponsor the club, a certain amount of employees are in free to every game. We've been trying to be pretty interactive. It's been a struggle trying to, I think, explain what we are has always been the problem. We've been trying to get people as many out to the games to say, hey, this is what it is. This is what we're trying to build. Help us bring it to reality for Columbia.
But maybe it's not businesses, it's churches.
Churches is an area we haven't touched yet. That may be something, which is surprising because I'm very active in my church and I've never touched churches.
We'll go Scott, and then.
All right, this is just building on some of the other things. Getting back to some of the leagues for, I'll say basically little kids. Have you reached out to them, sent them schedules, maybe even have a day for that particular league for each different age group?
Yeah.
Just to generate the interest in
Yeah,
that.
so there's Columbia Rush and Sporting Columbia, and then United Capital City are the 3 big youth soccer organizations. I'm just kidding, maybe know of another one, but those are the 3 that I know. And we've always reached out to them, hey, these are schedules, can you promote it digitally? We haven't done a lot of printouts or anything, handouts, but we have promoted to all the big soccer organizations in our area. We haven't really touched like basketball leagues or things like that. We didn't know if that was maybe a bad turn of things, but maybe we reach out to more different organizations. We've done boys and girls clubs, YMCA's, things like that, of trying to connect with
Or
them.
get more aggressive with those 3. I've been involved in all 3 of those organizations. I was unaware of your thing until I saw it on Million Cups.
Interesting.
So
That's interesting because every time we talk to them, they're like, hey, we want to partner, we want to do more with you, and then we get to their season and then it's just crickets.
yeah, so
It's been a struggle.
I don't think they're effectively promoting you.
Well, each one of those clubs have a tournament. They have their own tournaments. So to spend a little money and either get in the swag bags or goodie bags or the check-ins for the teams that are coming into the tournament, because a lot of the tournaments, I spent $1 million in Overland Park going to leagues for my 2 kids, and the more people know that there's options here, the better. And so when you start from little bitty on up and just really hitting those things and having the swag, like when my kids were little, they collected soccer scarves, and all the things, you know, and that's when I go back to the Savannah banana things, the more swag with your logo you can give out that I wanna be on AFC when I grow up.
That's been also a pain point. We've tried merchandising for the last 3 years, and we've struggled. So we've tried to reach out to different designers, Columbia at Mizzou, trying to think of different designs. That's been a struggle as well.
All right, we'll go here, and then DJ, and then DW.
Well, on a quirky note,
Yep.
you guys got a mascot?
No, we don't have a mascot. So mascot suits range about $10,000 to $15,000, and it's usually 90 degrees outside. As a former marketing student myself, those are very hot and painful things to do. So because of the heat, and that's one of the reasons why we don't usually bring out bounce houses, is because the heat's been a problem. At 90 degrees, you're really not supposed to have a bounce house outside. It could, for various reasons.
You guys' colors are blue and green?
Yeah, so actually if you go, I don't know if you can go back on the slide. So fun fact, so the city's, I don't know if there's a city flag around here at all, but the city's, the flag, so I'll explain the badge real quick. The blue and green are the city flag colors. I don't know if a lot of people know what our city flag looks like. If you have, they're there, and then the two eagles, the eagle head points one way and the other. That's to look at St. Louis and Kansas City to kind of tell them we're here. And then the shield is because we're in the middle of the state with the MO, because there's like 15 different Columbias out there in the world. So anytime they see our logo, we want to know which Columbia it is. So we put the shield on there. And then we have the river and the creek, which form the boundaries of the county. That's kind of how the badge came together. We actually designed it ourselves too. So. Sorry.
On the merchandising side, I don't know if this is still the case, but years ago, there's a local company called Soccer Pro, and they were one of the first that I was aware of that really blew up nationally online retailers, and they had a huge following for a while. That's been 5-6 years ago. I don't know if that's still the case of what they have, but
they pressed our jerseys year one and then moved to St. Louis.
Oh, we're in St. Louis now. Okay.
I
know they blew up there.
Yeah, they got bought out and moved to St. Louis. They actually provided a lot of our equipment year one, or they helped source our equipment year one. We were hoping we could use them, but they unfortunately.
But Tony Marrero is still in town, so have you connected with him?
We have a couple of their former employees that kind of help out with the club on a side thing. So
the follow-up part was, and I don't know if this will turn into a huge thing, but it might help some. Deja Vu back in the day, the comedy club would do office parties where you essentially tasked somebody that won to bring 30 of their friends for free. And so I wonder if giving some of those out every once in a while, you know, as a prize to somebody that they could bring however many people for free, just might get more people in to then come back, you know, again, if they enjoyed it.
You can co-brand those sponsorships. Like if you're trying to figure out how to pay for whatever that thing is that they're gonna get, co-brand, find a company that will just give you that stuff, right? Like they don't have to do a whole bunch of other stuff, but if they can just give you the prize that you're gonna give away, then that helps take that off your revenue, and it's just one less thing.
Yeah, to some of those things, I know you talked about maybe 2 seasons ago about doing like suites, right? Like putting a couple picnic tables and like maybe a large like 12 by 12 tent, a picnic table together, and then you sell a suite package and things like that. And those would be perfect like giveaways if those were things were potential. But then you have to work with facilities at Columbia College. There's just so many things you have to jump through.
We actually invested in all the stuff, so we own all the equipment. It's just been a struggle explaining what it is, what it looks like, and all that kind of stuff.
Right. DW.
So back to the explanation part.
Yep.
I think that really is the perception problem of where this fits. And I like your analogy of baseball the best, because you really are a farm team. You know.
Yeah, we're like a summer league a wood bat team essentially.
Yeah. So people could understand that better, because semi-pro doesn't mean. I mean, some of these things. Baseball is the closest sport where you sort of have a farm. You're kind of a farm team, you know. And so I think, and the other one is a clinic that you guys host a clinic like for 4th, 5th, 6th graders, because that's about the age that some of them are going to be thinking about, you know, moving up. So you could probably once you get hooked into that, and you get family, you know, kids coming, you know, and maybe a one-day camp. I don't know, whatever you do, but they're going to turn into fans. Yeah,
we had the Special Olympics night, and then we did have a camp this year. The coaches all hosted a camp in May, so that's something that they're trying to grow. It wasn't branded AFC Columbia, and I think it's something we're going to look at doing next year. It was branded something different.
And in terms of merchandise, go to a middle school sometime and look what they're wearing. Probably 25% of the boys and girls are wearing soccer jerseys.
Yeah, we actually showed up to Carline the last day of school, and all five. It was one of those days where you're having a bad day, and you're like, I need really something to show me a sign that things are going better. Every kid in the Carline had a different soccer jersey on. I was like, yeah, it's growing. We're getting there.
We'll go here and then there.
Have you, and I haven't followed you.
That's okay. It's okay.
But are you highlighting each of the players in your socials, and then are you having those players go out to schools? Like, cause teachers are always looking for ways to like,
Yeah, that's one of the things
to integrate into their classroom things that people can do, so like.
Yeah, that's one of the things that when we built the team this year, we didn't have them report until the first week of May. We're thinking we're having them show up a little bit earlier for the kids that are their school are done, because colleges are randomly done like the last week of April now, which is really weird to me as someone who graduated mid-May. But we're trying to get them in earlier so that we can do reading at the library and doing like, hey, can you go
Like
to
meet
PE
player,
classes?
learn
Yeah.
their story.
Yeah, that's something that we've considered. I'm really interested to see how that works, and also trying to, we haven't asked players in the past to do that, and it's gonna be a big step from us going, hey, we really are just focused on competition, to really using them as assets going out to the community and marketing for us. So it's gonna be something that the ideas unfortunately happen in the middle of the season, and it's something that wasn't part of the
You guys are only
service.
been around so long, so there's a lot that.
Yeah, things that we're gonna be asking in the future of our players that are a little different from years past. Yep.
Can you hang out for a few minutes after?
Yeah, sure.
In case anybody has questions we don't get to, I'm gonna go here and there, and then I think that'll probably do it for time wise, so.
I just wanted to follow up on the mascot again, because you're saying it's the heat, of course.
Yep.
But have you ever thought of just using one for internet purposes, for entertainment, to bring in more, like I said, it's the quirky side, but you don't have to have them out there in the heat. You can have skits, you can have.
Yeah, the initial expense is also part of the problem. Those suits are. We could probably get a cheaper one, but the ones that I've known have lasted longer than a couple of years is there's usually $8,000 to $10,000, and as a startup, yeah, it can in theory pay for itself, especially with a sponsor. If you have a sponsor that sponsors it, something like that. But
not to interrupt,
No, you're good.
but I'm interrupting. He's talking more about just online presence as opposed to a physical one at the stadium.
Just
like a logo type thing.
Yeah.
And you can cheat, like if it would say it was a wolf or something, you could just sell the ears and have just the ears that people wear.
That's interesting. We haven't
Or a
thought about
shirt
that.
or
No, that's
Or
something.
the wings, you say the Eagles.
Yeah, wings.
So that way it's not the whole costume, it's just the.
Yeah, our nickname has been the Blues, which is
You can have
we
it
wear
now.
blue jerseys all the time. But yeah, it's interesting. We haven't really used the eagle in the past. That's a good interesting. I'll have to think about that.
If
That's
a
a
lot
good
of
idea.
kids see something they could wear around or represent, that's just another avenue with that,
Yeah, that's interesting. We haven't approached that. That's a good idea. I'll try.
I didn't know what you had for concessions. Reason thinking, because we had a barbecue trailer back in the day, and we'd go to Little League parks and soccer fields and sold our product that way. The popcorn thing, we competed with the popcorn people in sales. And then maybe, if you don't, maybe a food truck day and have possible entertainment before the game. There's a couple of people around here playing some music. You can play for 15 minutes before the game to draw some more.
Yeah, we've tried the food trucks. The minimums, most of the food trucks are charging pretty high minimums these days because there's been so many events we're competing with from a food truck, which is really rare because we look in the community and there's not that many things that are going on with usually use a food truck.
But they show up just for sales.
Yeah,
They have like heavy minimums, like I did an event, it was like a $3,000 minimum.
Yeah, the minimums have been pretty high, and
I'm sure, Anthony, would you bring the smash cart to an AFC game?
Absolutely.
It's been hard.
$10,000 minimum though.
Yeah, the minimum. I worked in the zoo. We probably took advantage of the zoo, but even in the zoo, there were usually 2,000 to 3,000. We're not justifying. We can't guarantee 2,000 to 3,000 at this point.
Right.
Now, if we have 1,000 people a game, that's a different conversation. But right now, we do operate concessions on the concession stand there. It's pretty basic, bare bones. And it hasn't been. It's been revenue driver, but not substantially yet. But it also is because part of the offering is not, the dollar amounts for the offerings have been so small. Like we were just trying to break even on concessions.
Right.
Try to provide a try to provide a need, but we haven't been trying to make a ton of money off of it.
You can do a nonprofit concessions too. Like I know at Arrowhead, sometimes they'll have concessions that are manned by different nonprofits, and they're bringing the stuff, they're getting the revenue off of the stuff, but they're driving the crowd.
Yeah, we've been offered by Mizzou a couple times. Again, the problem though is the club shrinks considerably in the fall when you need like 20 or 30 people running those. We have 10 to 15. It's really hard, especially all those people are wanting to go to those games. It's been really challenging to try to do that.
All right, thanks y'all, appreciate it. Zach, we'll hang out for a few minutes and then we'll go from there.